Well, I have a message for the mega famous, mega successful band Rammstein. Guys, you had a great run. You got decades of success and hits and international acclaim and amazing tours and pyrotechnic mastery and all of that. It has been decided that Rammstein, I'm sorry, your time is up. Your career is over and you are hereby canceled. And by the way, while we are at it, I was thinking that look, I know that this band Rammstein, that they're not the only ones who have some crazy loony fan who can, lie about them and make up a bunch of crazy shit like, "Oh yeah, I was drugged." But drugged insinuates, I don't know, she's changing things around, right? Changing it around on her Twitter or whatever, right? But says or insinuates or whatever that someone in the band or the crew drugged her so that she could be a sex object for Till Lindemann, basically the lead singer. That seems to be her allegation. Or, like I said, it morphs. Okay. It's like a chameleon shapeshifter set of allegations. But because we're living in the era of Me Too, based on that one lady and then some pearl clutchers and ninnies on the internet, like we got to let these guys go. But I was thinking, though, what I wanted to say is that I was thinking that while we're at it, because I'm sure that you could find for every band and every rock star and every even minimally hip, edgy musician, I'm sure that we could find similar disturbed or attention seeking, fame hungry people to make similar allegations. And so I think that we should just cut to the chase. Okay. Stop getting around. So let's just cancel all rock stars and all musicians except for someone safe like Josh Groban. Your shoulder. Yeah, so if that's the kind of vanilla shit, I no offense to him. I mean, it's a good song, if I'm in the right mood, it might even bring a tear to my eye. But if that's the kind of vanilla shit, that we're wanting. But I think that we have some people in the younger generations, particularly, who have been sort of indoctrinated by, I don't know, society or whatever, the media, with this sort of hyperactivism. And they think that anytime anyone makes an allegation, that we have to act on it. And it's really created this kind of bizarre, almost like Children of the Corn type scenario where you've got guys like Rammstein and these rock stars, right? And you've got these like from the Crucible, like these girls, so to speak, women, but like running around, in a hysterics, trying to get a mob after him. Really. I wanted to talk about this, yes, because it's the kind of thing I've been covering on my channel. And if you're new to my channel, I invite you to look at my other videos. But I went to a Rammstein after party in the fall, in September. So there have been some articles. Louder magazine says Rammstein responds to fans' allegations that she was drugged at a pre-show party attended by Till Lindemann. I went to this very same kind of party that this woman alleges she was abused, but she has nothing to prove that except she's got this big bruise that doesn't even seem to be developing in a normal way, according to the photographs that she's shown. But she alleges that she was just really wasted and trashed at the after party, and she got this bruise and doesn't know how she did, and she's insinuating and crying and acting like it was, she got it through assault of somebody on the crew or in the band. You have had a number of people jump on the bandwagon since this lady came out with this story, alleging that, oh yes, I mean, basically these after parties are just basically sort of like nothing more than sort of an organized brothel for lead singer Till Lindemann to come in and take whoever he wants. There have been people coming out and saying ridiculous things about these parties, that like there's no men at the parties, and it's just younger hot women, and making it sound like Till Lindemann comes into these parties and he's just kind of on this rampage, to like who can he get to sleep with him, because it's so hard for a major rock star, to get women to have sex with him, right? So there have been people saying these things about the parties and making it sound like it's some kind of a rock star version of Eyes Wide Shut or something going on at these after parties. And thank God you've now had a lot of people coming forward who've been to these parties with contrarian perspectives. And actually now there are a lot more people who are telling the truth about the parties, and that they are tame and that they're not predatory and that they're not with this loon and some of these other people are describing. There have been a lot more people now coming out and showing video and so forth from the party and stuff like that. And so So I have been to this party, and moreover, I was invited to Till Lindemann's after party, right? So this is another thing that some people have been talking about online, right? Is that there's the after party, and Till is often there, and some of the band members might be there occasionally, and you know you have a lot of hot women and stuff there. But then also, people have been saying that, oh well, there's these after parties, Till's private parties. And, they did discourage people from taking photos. That's why I have no photos with band members. I do have photos with someone who was played and is playing with Till Lindemann in another project, Danny, and that I have a picture of that, right? And so like I was clearly there. And so I was at the red after party. And then also, like I said, I was asked to, along with my friend. And by the way, I was there with my friend because she's the big Rammstein enthusiast. I mean, I appreciate the music and everything, but like I was there with her, and that's how I was, getting into the party and everything. And by the way, there were a bunch of men going into the party, and that's just another lie that's getting propagated. Is that by people who don't know, or people who are just seeking to misinform or get hysterical, is that this was basically just a bunch of younger hot women. No, I saw a number of men there. And and in fact, I didn't see any. So where I was going with all this is to say that I spent several hours at these parties, right? There's the main party, and then I was invited to the after party, and so I never saw anything inappropriate. I hate to disappoint people. I never saw anything inappropriate by anybody. I didn't see anybody who was like incapacitated. Nobody, certainly nobody appeared to be drugged. And so, yeah, so I stuck around 2 or 3 hours, ended up leaving 2 or 3. I met and hung out with Danny. And then I met Joe Letts. And people are complaining. I see some people again complaining about Joe Letts and saying, "Oh, well, this was a toxic situation that he created." They're just going by what the accuser says. Again, why are we listening to this woman? And I'll get to this in a moment. But there's so many contradictions and issues with her and what she's been saying. But people saying, "Oh well, it's Joe Letts is toxic," and I'm thinking, I thought he was incredibly nice when I met him, and I hung out with him and Danny and my friend for it was like an hour. We were hanging out and talking, and he seemed like a really sweet. Honestly, I mean, I know the totality of someone you can't get it in an hour, but I actually don't often think about people. Wow, that seems like a really nice person. But I got that impression because he was trying to take care of a friend of his, and that's a whole other story that I won't get into. But and it was and seemed very chill and kind of shy, to be honest with you. So and that seems to be backed up in some of the video that's coming out now. Whereas the accuser, she's being about as obnoxious a drunk as you can imagine. She's not drugged. She's not out of her mind. She's just an obnoxious drunk. I went to these parties, and I can and so there and nothing happened, and they were tame, and I can just tell you that some of the things that are being alleged are not true. There were a number of males at the party and invited to the party, and there were not it wasn't just younger women. There were women there, several women there who were well past middle age, and apparently they had met Till Lindemann on the plane on the flight, and they didn't know anything about him or his music, but they talked, found out who he was, and he invited them to the show, free tickets to the show and the after party. And they were kind of like almost sort of perplexed, but entertained or amused or whatever. But they were there, and it just had it just felt safe. To be honest with you, y'all, I felt safer hanging out at these parties, okay, than I feel when I walk outside my house. Like it felt so safe that I was kind of bored. So, you know, it's just not true. And so I thought this is an opportunity here for me to talk about something and not only speak about it from the perspective of what I normally talk about, which is the importance of the presumption of innocence and all this, but from the perspective of I was at one of these things and it's just not true what people are saying. And a lot of other people are saying that. And if you want to go online, there are several different sites, particularly on Instagram. There's a Justice, I'll link to them below. There's a Justice for Rammstein site, Support Rammstein, Rammstein Army, and various others. But the word is getting out, and so if you're interested in the story, check this out. Now, this woman is claiming that she did the pre-party, and then she was asked, "Would you like to meet Till in a special meeting?" She was asked by Joe, and she asked Joe. She said, "Well, is this a sex thing? Will I have to have sex with him?" And she said that Joe said no. And so she met Till, and she said that Till expressed to her that he wanted to have sex with her, and she turned him down. Then, we get this video that she recorded of herself sometime later where she's just totally freaking out and putting on a great show. Oh my God, he wanted to have sex with me. Me.
He wanted to have sex with me, and I said, no, sex is very special for me. No. He was so angry with, oh my God, tell Lindemann wanted to have sex with me? What? 60-year-old Willie.
So anyway, she claims that he got really angry because she claims that Till expected that this thing was being arranged by Joe for them to have sex, and then he was disappointed and he was angry. And then she said he told her, "Well, stay there for a while, stay there." Now, she is depicting that. First of all, I don't think that happened. I really do think that this woman is an attention-seeking loony. And there's also stuff that I've learned behind the scenes that's probably not quite ready or to be shared yet, or shouldn't be shared quite yet, or I don't know. But I'm very convinced that this woman is not telling the truth about really anything. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, that what she was saying there was accurate, which I don't believe it is. But let's say that it was. I don't understand where the assault occurred. And I am just so tired of other people dictating appropriate sexuality, particularly when that involves changing what have been norms for a while. All right? A person, whether it be a rock star or whoever, is allowed to try to get you to have sex with them. I'm not talking about physically. I'm not talking about like overpowering someone or anything, but I mean someone is allowed to importune, to say, hey, you're hot, or let's do it, or you want to do it, or whatever. Okay. And guess what? They're even allowed to express displeasure or even anger with you if you turn them down. I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm not saying it's the kind of behavior that I would want in a boyfriend. Although, frankly, having lived with someone for many, many years in a relationship, there have been times when we have both gotten frustrated on different occasions that the other was not in the mood. I did not realize that was some great violation. And then when she tries to make it sound like he was holding her hostage when he said, stay right there, there's no context given either for the stay right there, because she does end up like being escorted out or leaving, according to her story, right? So, it's just like everything in the story is made to seem as sinister as possible. And if I had not been through this already with other MeToo hoaxes, some of which I've covered on my channel, maybe I'd have a little more of an open mind. But you have to bring proof. And that's the other thing too. So number one, I don't see where anything that she's actually described is any kind of a crime or a cancelable offense. I would actually expect, look, maybe I'm old. Yes, I'm in my early 40s. Yes, I'm sort of semi-Generation X. I don't see what the big shock is that you go to a rock concert, and I don't care what the assistant says or whatever. You're gonna meet one-on-one, or in a small group or whatever. You're gonna meet this rock star, and it's just shocking, or it's just you can't handle it if he does hit on you, or if he does want to have sex with you, and then if he expresses a frustration, that's like he just slapped you in the face or whatever. No, it's not. Okay, so in this hypothetical story that I don't believe, but in this story, you've got a kind of a miscommunication. So she claims too that then when she leaves, she tells Joe what happened. And she's like, he gave me a hard time, or he yelled at me, or he thought I was going to have sex with him. And Joe says, oh, I'm sorry. Like, basically the story that she tells is that there's some kind of miscommunication going on. I don't see what's so nefarious. And again, I don't accept the story. And there have been a number of things that she has claimed and that are not true or that are problematic. And I don't have time to cover all of them. All right, so this was posted on the Instagram site, I Stand with Rammstein. It says, the person who presents herself as a victim here rides herself more and more into the mud and is herself to blame for the fact that her presumed story seems ramshackly and implausible. First, she says she was drugged by someone at the pre-party. Why did she still go to the after-show party? Then they said Till wanted to sleep with her, and she said wanted to sleep with her and was pissed because she didn't want to. Joe seems to have started the whole thing, she claims. Then she says that it was orchestrated by Till. So, and then the girl said that she only had 2 drinks, but others who were with her at the party claimed that she had drink after drink and got very pushy. And by the way, this is another element of this that's interesting. There were people who were hanging out with her who have been pictured hanging around her, and they have come forward and said, we don't believe you. You're not telling the truth. You're not representing what was going on or how you were acting. In fact, there have been multiple people coming forward to talk about how obnoxious she was and pushy and aggressive, and didn't at all seem like she was incapacitated or drugged out in that sense. And we even have video of that. We have video of her seemingly, if you're going to say someone's harassing someone, harassing Joe Letts. After the whole situation, she stated that she did not remember anything, so she had memory gaps. One day later, she suddenly knew everything in the smallest detail again, which is simply absolutely not possible. Since the memory cannot be completely restored under the influence of alleged drugs, it is impossible. Then she said that she went directly to the police and reported the whole thing. A few hours later, she said that she had not yet been to the police and that she still wanted to go there. At the same time, she said that she had taken a drug test, which was negative, from the real urine sample. And it says from the real urine sample test, she has never reported. The hematoma is also, her bruise is also extremely subsided within 1 day, which is also impossible for such a large area and can also be medically proven if you do research. The chats in her stories seem faked, at least a large part of them. The message is written in the same style. Now, I'm just saying that and I could go on and on and on. This person says, I'd also like to mention another thing. In her Twitter, the accuser, she says that when the show started at 8 p.m., her memory was clear until then. However, she was obviously drunk before the concert. Therefore, how would she remember anything clearly up until the show and then suddenly remember everything about halfway through very clearly? So, I mean, there's just a lot of things that aren't making sense about her story. And again, look, y'all, I mean, look at this video.
Oh my God, Lindemann wanted to have sex with me? What? 60-year-old Willie.
I mean, y'all, am I supposed to take this seriously? I mean, are we stupid? Come on. Come on. I mean, there's an extent to which all you have to do is look at what we just looked at. And I'm sorry, it tells you everything you need to know. I want to just step back a little bit now, because there's something sort of larger here that's concerning me about this narrative that's emerging and about some of the conversations that people are having or things that people are expressing. It's great for people to express what they feel, but I'm saying I'm worried about some of these ideas that are taking hold without being challenged. There seem to be a number of people who feel that if it were true that Till Lindemann was trying to get attractive women to go to the front, to row zero. So in other words, if he was trying to surround himself with attractive women or put attractive women in front or put attractive women in the parties or have other people put attractive women in the parties. And this is frankly, this way of thinking that a grown woman who voluntarily goes to a Rammstein concert cannot be propositioned for sex or cannot be looked at in a sexual way or cannot be put into a party or put on the front row because of the way that she looks, that there's somehow something abusive in that, or there's some way in which she is enslaved by that, or she's not free to make choices to go to this party, don't go to this party, stay, go, whatever, or about her sexuality. I can choose to say yes to Lindemann, I will have sex with you, or no, I won't, as she didn't. She claims she didn't. Blah, blah, blah. Till Lindemann wants to have sex with me. Give me a break. Are we supposed to take you seriously acting like that? I mean, that's fucking retarded. No. And I'm insulted that anyone thinks that we should be taking this seriously, first of all. And secondly, I'm insulted on behalf of womankind. I'm insulted on behalf of intelligent, free thinking women like myself who are being told that if we go to an environment where we are in any way sexualized, where someone looks at us and thinks, oh, she's hot, or someone asks us out, or God forbid, even asks us to have sex, or invites us to a party because we're hot, to claim or to imply that that is abusive because women don't have the intelligence and the agency to say yes or no, or to be there or not be there, or that women themselves are not sexual human beings who look at men and sexualize them, or maybe women who want to be sexualized by the band. What if you were to tell all of those women, and by the way, I've seen video of the women in row zero, and a number of them looked middle-aged to me, by the way. We're really stretching. Some of y'all are really stretching the definition of young woman, because I keep, I was at the party and I keep looking at some of this video, and yeah, I'm seeing like women in their, who look to be in their late teens or 20s, but I'm seeing like other women who look to be in like their 30s and 40s and whatever, like, okay. But let's say that every woman in row zero, that you were to tell them that their function, basically, you're here because you look, and I'm not saying this was why, I'm just saying, like, let's just say hypothetically, your function here is to look hot because we want hot women. We want hot women. Yeah, maybe Till and the guys want to look at hot women. Who doesn't want? I mean, I'd rather look at hot women than not hot women. But Till and the guys, yeah, maybe they want to look at hot women, and maybe also, more likely, also maybe they know that it looks good for them to have hot women there near the stage. I mean, there's such a thing as, like, I don't know, PR and showmanship and thinking about, the environment and how things come off the camera. Are we stupid? This like regression to not understanding things that have been patently obvious for a long time, such as the idea that, a lot of women want to have sex with rock stars, and that women have sexual desire and agency, and that if women don't want to, they can say no thank you, or they can say, me, you want to have sex with me? Bashing him because he's a 60-year-old man. Why doesn't anybody care that she's an ageist? I mean, what the fuck's up with that? I guess we only care, about sexism and racism. We don't care about ageism, and she's insulting him being 60. That was the very end of her little quote there. Yeah, 60. Why are people trying to take away women's right to have sex with Till Lindemann? I mean, I'm partly being sarcastic, but I'm actually, I don't understand what is this? What is this new Puritanism that is being forced on us? And I have these people, thankfully, it seems like the majority of people still have their senses on all this stuff. But there are a number of people, like I said, there is a group of people on the internet and in society, and unfortunately, they're very much entrenched in media. There's this group that thinks that sex, that would like to tell us all how we're supposed to be having sex, and not only that, but whom we're supposed to be having sex with, and whom we can't, and how we're supposed to express sexual interest, and that nobody can ever, in any way, psychologically, in any way, cajole or pressure or even psychologically manipulate anyone into doing anything, even though to be a human is to be constantly in the act of trying to manipulate other people to do what you want, or see your perspective, or help you out with something, either consciously or love you consciously or unconsciously. Grow up. And yes, grow up. I saw a comment from someone saying, well, I've been to a bunch of Rammstein after parties, and basically it's hard to get in unless you're a hot woman. Well, so what? I mean, first of all, that wasn't what I saw when I was at the party. I saw a range of people, including this disabled fan, a male, a kid in a wheelchair. The most, and I'm just saying, like, that's another thing that they do, apparently, is they specially invite people to these parties if they have disabilities or challenges, or it's a Make-A-Wish thing, or it's their birthday. I mean, this was something that I saw to be true myself. It was not this hot guy in a wheelchair, or hot lady in a wheelchair. It was a guy. It was a kid. It looked like to be like maybe late teens or 20s. And the most sexual thing that I saw at the after party was Till Lindemann giving him a funny lap dance, which the guy loved. That was actually as sexual as I saw Till Lindemann getting that night. Alcohol and whatever is giving this guy a lap dance, a funny lap dance. Made his night, I'm sure, his year. But if someone wants to invite pretty women to a party, then they can. They can. And it doesn't mean that they're creepy, whatever that word means. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It doesn't mean there's anything illegal about it. It doesn't mean that it's assault. It is not assault or harassment. It is not to invite pretty girls to a party or to even ask someone if they want to have sex with you. And all that this woman is alleging is it seems like a sort of a miscommunication going on. Who knows? But again, I don't even trust her because there's other stuff she's been exposed on. You can see her. You can see how ridiculous she is. And she's claiming that when we see her all drunk and obnoxious at the show, that what we're actually seeing is her incapacitated by drugs, because she claims that somewhere in all of this, with this partying, the pre-partying or whatever, that she insinuates Rammstein. And she was even saying at one point, but then she changed it on her Twitter, right? Because that's really legally shady to say that you were drugged by the band. And so she changed it to at Rammstein instead of by Rammstein. Originally on her Twitter, it was something like I was drugged by Rammstein. And then she changed it at Rammstein. But yeah, she claims that someone in the band or the crew slipped something in her drink, and then she became just like ridiculously drugged up and incapacitated. And so that what we're seeing there that night in all that footage is her drugged up. No, I've been exposed to enough drugs in my life and done enough drugs to know that what we're seeing there is somebody who is obnoxiously drunk, but is not incapacitated in any way. She's just not. You can tell me, lady, you can tell me however many times you want what you think that I should be seeing, but I'm seeing what I'm seeing, and I'm seeing a ridiculous, obnoxious drunk and somebody who probably has a long laundry list of every personality disorder in the book, frankly. At least we got some BPD going on there a bit. And that's no offense to those of you who have BPD and you're dealing with it, right? It's a minority of you who have BPD and you're dealing with your shit, and kudos to you because it's not your fault you have it. But I'm talking about malignant, toxic people who are out here, yes, like Amber Heard, yes, like Evan Rachel Wood, and yes, like this woman and many others, trying to ruin everything for everyone else. You know, got these people out here who are upset that women are being potentially hit on by Till Lindemann. Well, I'm upset that you're trying to stop us from having sex with Till Lindemann. Who made you my chaperone? What if I want to have sex with Till Lindemann? Do I not have the right to have sex with Till Lindemann? God, I just never thought we would get to a position of sexual puritanism from the left. You know, I mean, we all understood the churchy thing, right? Yeah, you've got some churchy people and some religious people and some fundamentalists, Catholics, whatever. They're a little bit messed up when it comes to sex, repressed or whatever. But now it's coming from these, like I said, it's coming from the left, and it's coming from and some of it, not all of it, some of it's coming from these younger generations who don't understand that if you want to sanitize everything and you want to make everything hyper safe to the point where no one has to ever feel even any emotional discomfort, or no one has to be hit on sexually or romantically who doesn't want it, or no one has to have Till Lindemann looking at them in the front row. You don't understand that if you take all of that away, you know what? You're going to take away a lot of stuff also that you don't want to take away. Because there's no having sexuality and sexual interest on the terms that you want without sometimes having to have it on the terms that you don't. And I'm not talking about forced sex or assault or anything like that. I'm talking about sexual interest. I'm saying sometimes if you want, ladies, men, if you want someone to hit on you, sometimes, you know what? Sometimes someone's going to hit on you that you don't want to hit on you. That's how it works. And so you go and Miss Shelby, Looney Tunes, you're going to go to a Rammstein concert and you're going to act like that, like we see you behaving and we're told you're behaving and all of that. And what? People are supposed to treat you like your porcelain, like you're a virginal saint or something. And it doesn't, and again, I don't even believe that. I mean, you can't even say that anyone did anything to you, actually. That's the other thing that I hate about this so much, is because it's just so reliant on innuendo and implication. She has no reason to claim that anyone in the band or the crew put that bruise on her. She does not allege that Till Lindemann did anything to her when they had that, she says, awkward encounter where he thought she wanted sex and she didn't. She doesn't allege he forced her or anything.